Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander Score Studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, well, let's talk about one of the most popular themes, the most popular styles of a deck in Commander, and that is artifact decks. I think it's actually number one right now according to EDH Rec, and we're going to be talking about the top 5 artifact deck commanders on a budget. Now, artifact deck commanders that have an artifact deck, that's probably a better way of saying it. It's not just commanders that are artifacts. I'm talking too much now. Let's get into it. Now, first up, this one is a pick that is, well, near and dear to my heart, number 1. Number 2, slightly problematic depending on the playgroup you are playing with in the style of deck that you build with it, but Joyrup, Weatherlight Captain, this commander changed my life for a lot of reasons. Number 1, I believe this is the deck that I probably spent the most time in tweaking and actually getting it to the point where, like, the synergy in it was just absurd. Yeah, for only $25 on a budget, and, it was such a crazy deck that, yeah, it had some really long turns because, well, it's kind of how I designed it, and didn't realize how annoying that would be for my opponents. I didn't think that they wouldn't enjoy just, watching me just, okay, now play this. All right, this. Oh, yeah, just this. Okay, keep going. Yeah, it's a crazy good commander. I mean, it can be built in a couple different ways. Here we go, a 3/3 Human Artificer for 4 mana, and is it? Whenever you cast a historic spell, draw a card. Now, artifacts, legendaries, and sagas are historic. Here's the thing. Yeah, you can build a powerful legendary deck or a saga deck, but artifacts are broken. Mostly. They're the easiest thing to break, I should say. And with this commander, they are absurdly broken because all of a sudden, every single one of your artifacts is a cantrip now. And there are, well, artifacts that either cost 0 or you can make cost 0, and then you can maybe get those back to your hand and recast them. So basically, Artifact Storm is most definitely a thing with this one if you're going to build in that direction. So yeah, this is a crazy good commander to build. Yes, even on the lowest of budgets, because you can do some absolutely absurd and obnoxious potential things with them. So do keep that in mind. I will include a list in the description below, a link in the description below that has all the cards I talk about in this episode in case you're interested in these commanders and their decks. And also check out my episodes on them, but be cautious with this one because this kind of deck is not for every single kind of playgroup. So when it comes to cards that work well with this and the kind of strategy that you use with it, yeah, Enthusiastic Mechanon, a really good card with it. A 2/2 Goblin Artificer that is an artifact itself, costs 2 mana, flying, artifact spells you cast, cost 1 to cast. Yeah, so basically a 2 mana cantrip, lovely, cool. Oh, and also, by the way, my next artifacts cost less, potentially even 0 for some of them, because maybe I also include like a Herald of Kozilek in there too. Hey, 2/4 Eldrazi Drone for 3 mana. Color spells you cast, cost 1 to cast. Guess what? The vast majority of your artifacts are colorless, so now all of a sudden we have multiple of these in play. You are going to be like, oh yeah, let's just reduce the cost of all my artifacts down to nothing because my deck has like a curve of 1, maybe 2 at the most, and all of a sudden all my artifacts that would have cost 1 or 2 are now 0. So I just cast spell, draw even more, cast more for free, draw even more, and yeah, I'll also maybe get some extra value out of there because, drawing isn't just good enough with just Joyrup. Let's just do Artificer Assistant too. Flying, whenever I cast a historic spell, scry 1. So now anytime I cast an artifact, I also get to scry. So, lovely. Basically, here's how it goes now. Cast artifact. Scry first. Look at the top card of my library. Nope, don't like it. Bottom. Cool. Draw something else. Oh, that's better. Lovely. So yeah, being able to essentially set your draws up is absurdly effective with this commander. And of course, there are other kinds of effects like this. Like there's a looting effect as well. So yeah, have fun with all those. So you're just like, yeah, okay, let's make sure I make all the right decisions while drawing all these cards and doing a million things on my turn. Next up, Lembus. Yeah, there are also artifacts that draw you cards too, and then some. Lembus enters the battlefield, scry 1, draw a card. Yeah, I mean, most decks aren't going to be like, yeah, I'm really excited about this card. These kinds of decks are like, that is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. An ETB that's not just draw a card, but also scry 1, then draw a card. Yeah, sign me up for that. Again, an artifact that at a certain point could just cost 0 for you that you're drawing 2 off of thanks to your commander plus the scry. Lovely. And also, it travels into your library if it goes in the graveyard, so cool. And also, you can gain 3 life with it if you really want to. Yeah, any kind of an ETB is going to be great for you, these kinds of artifacts. Everflowing Chalice, you also have artifacts that cost 0. So if you just want to draw for free, draw for free. Free cantrips, what's not to love about that? Or, yeah, with mana rocks, obviously you can put mana into this and actually, get into play. And also, if you have those cost producers in play, cool. Play your mana rocks for free, essentially. And yeah, also draw too. Next up, Paradoxical Outcome. Again, how do you make your turn even longer and do even more crazy things? Well, you take those artifacts back in your hand. Instant for 3 and a blue. Return any number of target non-land, non-token permanents you control back to one's hands. Draw a card for each card. Return your hand this way. Even just like regular, hey, bounce all your artifacts back to your hand spells are incredible with this deck. But this one's like even better because you're like, oh, okay, cool. Bring all my things back to my hand. And then also draw that many cards. Oh, and then also I kept my cost reducers in play, so I'll just dump those things back out for free, draw even more cards, and now I have 30 cards in my hand, and all of them are free probably to keep playing. So yeah, you can do some absolutely crazy things once you get things set up, and of course you can win with a card like Temporal Fissure, or it can be an enabler for you as well. Return target permanent to its owner's hand, Storm. So basically, again, that doesn't specify non-land, so keep that in mind. We'll get to that here in a second. But yeah, earlier in the game, you'd be like, hey, I cast 5 spells in this turn. Oh, I don't really have anything to do. Okay, I'm going to cast this. I'm going to bounce all my artifacts back to my hand, replay those to draw even more thanks to my commander, get whatever other value I have. Cool, and again, I've got those cost reducers, so they're free. Late game, though, it's like, oh, I played tally, 85 spells this turn. Cool. Bounce all your permanents. Including your lands, because yeah, I've got enough storm count to do that. Game over. I mean, it's not technically game over, but your opponents should scoop on that because you have no lands, you have no nothing, everything is gone. I have this giant engine that is working, and if you really want me to have to keep going through all this, I can. I probably have Elixir of Mortality, which just keeps me going again, and I will never mill myself, and I will also just rebounce all your things once you get them back out again. But I also have ways to finish out the game too. Like, ways to create, say, like, creature tokens, like side match with others, that kind of thing too. So, yeah, this is a commander, Joyrup, that, again, I will urge you, please be careful with, because I've actually done an episode on, like, the one deck I never play anymore, or I can't play anymore, because I found that, hey, this isn't the right deck for every kind of play group. And you don't have to build Joyrup in that way. It does not have to be Artifact Storm. You can just go like artifact value, big artifacts, and still gaining value off them by casting them. But when you're going like Artifact Storm, there are certain kinds of play groups out there. I would, not try to generalize, but I'd say more players than not typically don't want to sit and watch you play Solitaire, okay? Even though I love tweaking those decks and building those decks, those Rube Goldberg machines. I love them. Absolutely. The value you can create is crazy. Again, even on a budget, even on the lowest of budgets, you can do some crazy things with them. Crazy broken, even infinite things if you really want to. But yeah, be careful with that one especially, okay? Not every play group wants that. Okay, that being said, again, the artifact commanders, there are different ways you can take them, and other commanders, maybe that we'll get to here in a bit, can also do some crazy things. Let's go into them. Moving on. Sten, Paranoid Partisan. Now, this is yet another commander. Again, like Joyrup, it is flexible in that it can be a couple of different kinds of things. But, again, when it comes to trying to use and abuse certain types of permanents, artifacts are the easiest to do so because, well, they've got generic mana costs they can fit in any deck. A 2/2 human wizard for 2 mana in Azorius. As it enters the battlefield, choose a card type other than creature or land. Artifact. Spells you cast, chosen type cost wants to cast. Pay 1 in Azorius colors. Exile, Sten, return to the battlefield. Under those control to begin next end step. So this is an interesting commander where, again, you can take it into a lot of different strategies. You can go Spellslinger if you want. You can go with, instants or sorceries. You can go with creatures if you really want to. Oh, it does say creatures. Sorry, not creatures. You can go with planeswalkers. That's what I meant to say, and then I said creatures, and I was like, oh, wait, no, stop. You can go with battles if you really want to do that. Okay, go for it. Regardless, the most powerful version of this commander is most definitely artifacts because, again, hey, this is just a commander that is one of the key elements to an artifact deck where it's like, hey, cost reduction, very, 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 very powerful for artifacts. Again, your 1-mana artifacts are always free when you have this in play, as long as you chose the correct thing. And also, this can protect itself by, having it go away and come back, and if you really want to switch that, you can, but don't recommend that. Regardless, it is a commander that can be, again, built in a lot of different ways on a budget. The most powerful version of this, in my opinion, is Artifact, and it's a very powerful version of it. This is a commander that can really help you so much. Again, that cost reduction coming so clutch. And also, hey, the cost reduction helps you get to even more cost reduction, like a Semblance Anvil. Crazy good card. Imprint. Enters the battlefield and may exile a non-land card from your hand. Spells you cast to share a card type with it. Costs us to cast. Exile an artifact from your hand. All of a sudden, with this, combined with your commander, all of a sudden, all your artifacts cost 3 less. Yeah, that means that this 2-mana spell, because your commander just makes it so all your artifacts are probably free. Maybe they cost like 1, like for your like Hedron Archive or whatever. Sure, pay 1 for that, taps for 2. Cool, it's a Soul Ring now. Great, good for me. Yeah, you're going to be doing some crazy things with that cost reduction. And again, that's just a little step in the way to doing something absolutely massive. Also, this kind of a commander that is cost reduction just on a commander. Yeah, things like Future Sight or the more expensive like art. I think this Mystic Forge is the artifact one that's gotten more expensive. But yeah, Future Sight works great as well. Enchantment for 2 blue, blue, blue. Play with the top card of your library revealed. Oh no, my opponents know what it is. Who cares? You may play the top card of your library. Yeah. We're going to be playing things so fast that it does not matter, because when we're like, oh, that's an artifact that costs 1. Okay, into play for free. Oh, that's 1 too. Into play for free. Oh, that one costs 3. Okay, well, play the Semblance Anvil, reduce the cost. Okay, now I'll play that one for free. Yeah, you can just basically churn through your deck at an absurd rate and do some crazy things. And here's the thing. There are artifacts that help you with that too. So yeah, if you are, building this, in a very powerful way, you might just have ways to actually go get your future sight or cards like that, essentially, that let you go off the top of your library. And maybe you got some mill effects like Gold Caller's Bell. Hey, artifact for 1, tap each player mills 1. I'm also milling my opponents. Great, cool, good for me. There's also ones that don't do that too, or ones that exile. Whatever. The important part is this is a card that you just play for free, and every single turn you can adjust the top card of your deck to make sure that you can get into things that you need, especially if you're playing off the top, with your commander again. Card for free, card for free. Oh no, I hit a land. Go away. Cool. Next card for free, next card for free. Yeah, there's a lot of value to be had in some absurd turns as well. Again, depending on how you're building this, be careful, because again, if you're going like Storm version, you might want to ask your player group ahead of time. At least you should. Scrap Trawler also, again, with this kind of a commander where it's like, hey, okay, I've got all these artifacts, all this value. Oh no, my opponent's dealt with things. Hey, whenever this or another artifact you control is from the grave from the battlefield, return to your hand target artifact card in your grave with lesser mana value. Again, you've got a lot of medium to low value artifacts out there. You might be sacrificing some, maybe your opponents deal with some. Cool, get again that your 1 mana ones back essentially, and just all of a sudden play those for free. Just getting them back, you're playing them for free. There's so much value to be had with that. On top of that, you can take advantage of, again, when you play artifacts, like a Mirror and Spy can really help you out. When you cast an artifact spell, you may untap target creature. Here's the thing. If you've got, creatures out there, like, say, some, like, the low-cost mirror, essentially, like a copper mirror. Not copper mirror. What's the blue? Silver mirror. There we go. You can tap that one, essentially. Gold mirror is the white one, I think. Anyways, you can play those. You can tap them for mana. Cool. All right, I played an artifact. I untap it for mana. Now you're basically just generating free mana now on top of that whenever you're playing those artifacts for free. There's a lot of crazy synergies that you can utilize with a commander like this. Chief Engineer is another one that can help you out as well. Artifact spells you cast, have, convoke. Goodness. Okay, so again, you dump all these free artifacts into play, and then you're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I got a lot of artifact creatures to play too now. Let's just tap those, get more artifacts into play. Then we'll get some more artifact creatures into play. We tap those as well. Or again, if you got ways to make a creature army when you're playing your artifacts, like efficient construction type cards, cool. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, I got a giant army. Tap those free artifacts, which makes you even more of a giant army. There's some crazy things you do with this one. So again, when it comes to kind of like the pillars of what really can make an artifact deck really, really pack a punch, especially again on a budget, I mean, having a lot of synergy, having a lot of focus, having card advantage based on your artifacts like Joyrup does, or having cost reducing. Those are like two of the major pillars of artifacts and what makes them so powerful, because again, you have access to so many artifacts because again, most of them, the vast majority of them, do not have a color identity. And then also, hey, they have generic mana value, so if you can reduce that cost, you can play them for free, which is crazy good. So yeah, free value can be had with this commander. Again, even though this commander and Joyrup can both go in different directions, okay? They can go in a lot of different directions. The most powerful, in my opinion, is Artifact, and these are some of the most potent budget commanders out there for artifacts. Moving on, Gandalf the White. Yeah, this commander, again, it's kind of funny how some of these essentially are like, oh yeah, they go this way, that way, this way, that way. When it comes to having a choice, the answer is almost always, what the most powerful version of a deck is, artifacts. Typically, that is the answer because it's the most easily used and abused permanent, essentially, and, or card type, really. And because of that, yeah, that's maybe one of the reasons why it's one of the most popular out there, because it is so powerful. Gandalf the White, a 4/5 Avatar Wizard with Flash, costs 5 mana. Yeah, this is one of the 68 million Gandalfs out there. 6, I think. 7, maybe? 6 or 7? Regardless, it is a very powerful one. You may cast legendary spells and artifact spells as though they had Flash. Cool. So first of all, you can flash this out, all right, which is great whenever you need to. And also now, all of a sudden, Vidalcan Ori for your legendary spells, but more importantly, again, artifact spells. Oh, and on top of that, as if just not being able to play at instant speed was just not very powerful, especially in an artifact deck where it's like, okay, cool, yeah, some artifact commanders are like, okay, colorless. This one's like, no, you get white too. Also, if a legendary permanent or artifact entering or leaving the battlefield causes a triggered ability permanent you control to trigger, triggers additional time. Entering or leaving. ETB, LTB, both double up with all the artifacts. My goodness. The amount of value, again, that can be had is absurd. So again, we talked about a commander that, again, provided value with card advantage. We talked about a commander that gave you value based on reduction. This one's like, okay, take whatever the artifact does and double that up with ETB or LTB. So Yeah, how about a card like Ichor Wellspring? Very simple, very effective, absurd with this commander. Artifact for 2, ETB, draw a card. Cool, awesome. All right, so ETB with Gandalf, 2 mana, draw 2. Lovely. Oh, that I flashed in too. 2 mana, draw 2. Great. Oh, by the way, if this is put in the grave from the battlefield, leaving the battlefield, I also draw a card. So again, normally this would be like 2 mana, draw 2, but like delayed anyway, depending on when you can sacrifice it. You'll have ways to sacrifice things with this kind of a commander. This one, though, it's like, oh, no. I get both doubled. So I get to draw 4 cards for 2 mana, plus whatever other value I get from playing an artifact or going in the graveyard, that kind of stuff as well. Next up, Threefold Thunderhulk. Yeah, this was so good with this. A 0/0 ETB with 3 counters. That's going to be 6 instead, because all of a sudden this is doubled. On top of that, when it enters the battlefield or attacks, you make a number of 1/1 gnomes equal to its power. So, hey, again, this was supposed to be 3 counters for 3 creatures. But with this commander, it's like, oh, okay, 6 counters, 12 creatures, because both things double. So all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, I get a 6 power for 7 mana that brings me 12 creatures. Yeah, sign me up for that. And also, you can just keep attacking and making more creatures. Have fun with that. Very, very good. Mirror works. You know what's better than getting something? Getting it twice, or even more. Whenever another non-token artifact enters the battlefield for control, you may pay 2. If you do, create tokens, copy that artifact. Double this up. Lovely. Double your things up. Lovely. All of a sudden, your best artifacts out there, you're like, oh yeah, give me 2 of those. Give me 3 of those. Whatever it is, absurd effects. And of course, if you got ways to bring them back to your hand, replay them, even more value to be had. Yeah, card's pretty absurd. Next up, Angel of the Ruins. Early in the game, you can plain cycle it away if you don't need it. You're like, I don't really need you right now. Go away. More importantly, though, 5/7 flying angel for 7. That's not too bad. But most importantly, hey, it is an artifact. It enters the battlefield, exile up to 2 target artifacts and or enchantments. You're obliterating 4 things. You're like, you all go away permanently. I am just ETB. Get rid of a lot of things. Yeah. Eat your heart out, Terastodon, kind of, in a way. But yeah, being able to say goodbye, so many things. Also, again, if you've got ways to take advantage of ETBs, which you probably do with like either blink effects or like replay, you know, ability essentially. Yeah, you can really take advantage of this one, taking out so many things and wiping boards. Next up, Mirror Retriever. Again, a way to essentially be like, you know what, actually, let's just take advantage of that LTB as well. A 1/1 mirror for 2 mana. When it dies, you turn another target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. This one thing that costs 2 mana, when it dies, and again, you probably have ways to sacrifice this and other things as well, you get 2 things back. Cool, for 2 mana, regrowth twice. Lovely. Back to your hand, which maybe it's something else that can get this back, which can get that back, which can get this back. Yeah, you can definitely do some infinite loops with this kind of thing if you really want to do that. Circuit mana, we also have ones to take advantage of both sides of this as well. A 2/3 insect for 3 mana, enters the battlefield, gain 2 life. Nice, cool. Oh wait, no, that's 4 life. Lovely. Also, when it leaves the battlefield, draw a card. Again, most of the ones are like, hey, when it dies, put in the graveyard, then you draw the card or whatever it is. This is like, no. If I just leave the battlefield, I draw a card. Oh, but my commander doubles that. So that's twice as much. So I draw 2 cards every single time this leaves the battlefield. I gain 4 life every single time this enters the battlefield. So much value to be had. Again, if you got like blink effects, take advantage of this and then some. So yeah, again, getting off the white. Like the other commanders I mentioned so far, again, can be built multiple ways. You could go Legendary Tribal, and it's very powerful Legendary Tribal too. And maybe there's some instances of Legendary creatures you want to include in this deck as well. But yeah, going heavy into artifacts, into artifact synergies, there are some absurd things that you can do with that. So yeah, a very powerful commander. Again, even though it's like $4.75, it's a little more expensive than some of the commanders I'm talking about in this episode, but itself is not all that budget friendly, but still not breaking the bank too much. But the rest of the deck is going to be absurdly budget friendly. There's so many cool things that you can do with it. A very effective budget friendly artifact commander. Moving on, though, we've got Osgir the Reconstructor. This one is a spicy commander that really put, like, Boros artifacts on the map, in my opinion, unless I'm forgetting about another one, which I probably am. But, yeah, Osgir's like, hey, you know what? Let's take things up to a different level. A 4/4 Giant Artificer with Vigilance for 4 mana in Boros. Pay 1. Sacrifice an artifact. Target creature control gets +0 until end of turn. On top of that, pay X tap. Exile an artifact card with mana value X from your graveyard. Create 2 tokens or copies of exile card. Activate only as a sorcery. Now, that limiting factor, all right, does limit it a little bit. You can't just instant speed do things. That being said, hey, we're still going to be getting an absurd amount of value. Basically, we can, not freely, but nearly freely for 1 mana sacrifice our artifacts, get them in our graveyard. Again, take advantage of any kind of death triggers, LTBs, which, yeah, we definitely will. But also, yeah, double it up. Basically, get double it up. Double those value. Double the tokens that we get out of it. We can do some crazy things with this one. And of course, yeah, I guess if they're creature artifacts, then also, yeah, you can populate them if you really want to do that. Regardless, hey, here's the thing. yeah, we can use some cost users to get things into play, either for free or cheap. Get them into play, sacrifice them, get double the value out of them thanks to our commander. Lovely. Also, here's the thing. There's artifact lands that we can take advantage of as well. So, like, Boros is not really known for ramping, but you can ramp in the weirdest way possible. You play a Darksteel Citadel, you tap it for a mana, you sacrifice it to your commander, and then all of a sudden it's in your graveyard. You pay one with something else, you tap your commander, and you exile from your graveyard, and all of a sudden now you've got 2 lands where you used to have 1. Crazy. Yeah, so the way it interacts with artifact lands is really, really, really cool. Next up, Coveted Jewel. You can take advantage of cards that are slight downside cards, like Coveted Jewel. Artifact for 6, enters the battlefield, draw 3, tap for 3. Whenever one or more creatures opponent controls attack you and aren't blocked, that player draws 2 cards and gains control of it. Untap it. Again, this is a crazy good card. If you just didn't have that second part on it, where it's like, yeah, opponent can steal it and draw some cards, you don't really like that. There's certain circumstances that are kind of funny with that, actually, but we'll get to that later. No, we won't. We'll talk about that every day. Maybe. Anyways, being able to just sacrifice this just for 1 mana to get rid of it and say, yeah, I got my value out of this. I drew my 3, and yeah, you can swing at me, sure. I'll just sacrifice and get rid of it. Oh, and by the way, when I do that, now it's in my graveyard. I can pay 6, tap my commander, get 2 of these, get my mana back immediately because they both can tap for 3. Oh, and by the way, I just drew 6 cards. Lovely. And if you try to deal with them, I'll sacrifice those again so they are gone. Yeah, you're basically drawing 9 out of this and getting mana, I mean, for days if your opponents don't deal with them or try to get to you, essentially. A crazy good effect. Next up, Solemn Simulacrum, of course. Again, taking advantage of ETBs, but also LTBs is very, very possible, this kind of commander, very easily. Because again, it is an engine, essentially, that helps you get the LTBs by sacrificing them, get the ETBs by getting them back twice as much. 2/2 Golem for 4 mana, enters the battlefield, go get a basic land to play tapped, ramp, lovely. When it dies, draw a card. Basically, this is, with this commander, hey, draw 3, ramp 3, thank you. Yeah, being able to get this in play, sacrifice with your commander to get that draw card is nice, but then also getting it back out, 2 copies of it, essentially. Have fun with all of that. So yeah, so much value to be had, again, especially with ones that do have ETBs and LTBs for you. Mishra's Bauble. Even as ones that are like this, that are just so kind of innocuous and just like, most decks really don't want this. It's so good in this kind of deck because it's just an artifact for 0. Tap, sacrifice, look at the top card of target player's library, draw a card at the beginning of next upkeep. It doesn't really matter that first part. It's like, okay, cool, I see the top card of your library. Yay. I mean, I guess you can see yours if you really want to know what you're going to be drawing. That being said, what matters is this is a free cantrip. It's a delayed cantrip. It's a free cantrip. Draw a card. Great. Oh, by the way, it costs 0, so play it for 0. Tap, sacrifice, draw a card. Oh, Osgear. Tap for 0. Get this out of my graveyard. 2 copies of it. Tap, sacrifice them, draw cards too. I know what everyone's top of the library is now. Yay! But also, basically delay, draw 3, kind of like a weird Ancestral Recall in a way. Very, very good. Again, with these 0-mana artifacts, keep that in mind with your commander. Also keep in mind, again, things that would be played more, I guess, if they were more easily usable. Ugin's Nexus. Ledger artifact for 5. If a player begins extra turn, that player skips that turn instead. That's very nice, okay? Being able to say, opponents, you cannot take extra turns. Expropriate player over there is going to cry when every single player chooses time and they don't get rid of this and then they don't have it. They wouldn't cast that one thing. But anyways, put the graveyard from the battlefield instead. Exile and take an extra turn for this one. This is a 5-mana extra turn spell when you need it. Great. Do so. Oh, and by the way, get it out of your graveyard as well. Sacrifice them too. Anyways, being able to essentially be like, yeah, I get an extra turn. Cool. All right. Awesome. I can sacrifice this at will with my commander. Take advantage of that. Next up, Keening Stone. Actually, I messed up on the last one. I did say it exiles, so you can't get the token copy. I guess if it's in your graveyard for a different reason, like if you Faithless Loot it away, then you can use it in your graveyard. Keep that in mind. Anyways, Keening Stone. Another way, again, we talked about getting artifacts into play and sacrificing them with your commander, but also you could just fill your graveyard in other ways, like Keening Stone, which is an artifact itself. Pay 5, tap, target player, mills X cards or X number of cards on the player's graveyard. All of a sudden, you're like, okay, I've got 10 cards in my graveyard. Now I have 20. Next turn, I got 40. Being able to just add more and more cards to your graveyard gives you more and more and more fuel for your commander, more options for your commander for that amazing ability. So make sure you keep that in mind. Also, maybe sacrifice this, get 2 copies of that, and all of a sudden, again, if you've ramped to the point, which you can with this going to do absurd things with ramp, you can utilize this twice in a turn to like mill one of your opponents, mill them again. If you're playing against like a self-mill deck or a graveyard deck, you can easily mill them out pretty quickly. So yeah, this is a really, really cool card in a lot of circumstances with this kind of commander. And again, this commander can utilize a lot of really cool things. It's a very powerful commander. Of course, untap effects can be great with it as well, so keep that in mind. There's artifacts that untap too. Osgear is a very effective value-centric commander that, again, can take advantage of artifacts in 2 different ways. Obviously, you can take advantage of like ETBs, LTBs, activated abilities. I said 2, but I meant like sacrificing and also recurring. So yeah, being able to utilize artifacts in those spicy ways is going to do a lot for you. And finally, yeah, a very budget-friendly commander at 16 cents itself, Marius Scholar of Antiquity, a 3/3 off artificer for 3 mana in Gruul. Tap an untap non-token artifact you control, add green. Whoa. Also, tap 2 untap non-token artifacts you control, exile a top card of your library, play this turn. Impulse Draw. So this is a commander that gives you ramp and Impulse Draw. Yes, it is limited in that it's not saying, hey, any kind of artifact. So you can't utilize clues or any kind of a token artifact. You can't utilize treasure. Basically, you're like, okay, I get all these non-token artifacts into play. I can turn them into mana, absurd amounts of green mana, and also I can turn them into card advantage. Temporary, yes, with Impulse, but still, again, this kind of a commander, if you've got cost reducers out there for your artifacts to play, cool. I'll exile a bunch of them up top of my library, play a lot of them for free. If I need to actually use mana for something, cool, I can tap my artifacts for mana. You do a lot of things with this. This gives you, again, card advantage plus mana advantage with this. It is absurd. Yeah, are you in the perfect color combination for this? No, but that's kind of the fun of this one too, where it's like, yeah, okay, I'm not in the perfect colors that actually don't usually like to work with artifacts, but you know what? I'm going to do some pretty crazy things with this. Again, basically any 0 mana artifact is like a, what is it? Mox Emerald. There you go. There's the green one. Basically a Mox Emerald this, because again, Tormod's Crypt is a non-token artifact, obviously. 0 mana artifact. It also can be tapped to sacrifice that exile card to target player's graveyard. So it's a nice panic button to have if you need that to get rid of someone's graveyard. If not, though, this commander is just like, oh, okay, this is either a 1 or 0 mana artifact for free, which again is a ban-worthy card, or also this is half of an Impulse Draw. Again, utilize with something else. You can also Impulse Draw. Absolutely absurd that, again, any 0 mana artifact, and there's plenty of them out there, are now just free mana for you with your commander. Woo! You can utilize right away, or you can utilize for Impulse Draw. Again, moving on. Astral Cornucopia, again, technically a 0 mana artifact, so if you really just need to get this out, great, do so. But again, at a certain point, you're going to have an absurd amount of mana, so pay X, enters the battlefield with X charge counters on it, tap choose a color, add 1 mana for each charge counter on it. Cool. Being able to just be like, yeah, I will dump 12 mana in this, tap for 4, great. Could be even more than that, obviously, once you get things going and have an absurd amount of artifacts in play to all tap for mana to dump into this. Or again, it's just, hey, pay 0, get this in play, and it can tap for 1 mana right away for you, too. Or how about Battered Golem? Yeah, you can take advantage of some really weird, really terrible in many circumstances artifacts like this one, a 3/2 Golem that costs 3. It doesn't untap during your untap step. When an artifact comes into play, you may untap it. This is an absurd value engine for you. Yeah, some pretty infinite crazy things can definitely happen with something like this. Because again, this says, Mary does, tap and untap non-token artifact you control. It doesn't say that the artifact gains that. So because of that, even your artifact creatures can tap for mana right away because it's Mary's ability, not theirs. So being able to tap this for mana, play an artifact. Cool. All right. All of a sudden, oh, I untap it. Play another one. Oh, maybe I just played an artifact for free. Okay, tap before that actually happens, and I get to float the mana, and now I've got extra mana. This just gives you an absurd amount of mana. It is a mana engine for you. It is a card advantage engine for you as well. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, that's a really good effect. Moving on, Volatile Wanderglyph, a 2/2. Whenever it comes tapped, you may discard a card if you do draw a card. So again, taking advantage of artifacts in different ways as well. Ones that are like, hey, if you tap me for whatever reason, which normally in most circumstances would be like combat, right? I swing, haha. Cool, I will rummage. I was going to say loot, but it is rummage. But no, with this commander, it's like, no, I don't have to send you into danger. I just utilize you as basically a mana dork with haste. And I essentially utilize that, and I also get to rummage too. Great. And also get, with this card selection that I'm getting from you, I also get card advantage potentially with that Impulse Draw as well. So yeah, these kind of like tap effect ones are absolutely absurd with this. And because of that, if you have, again, a decent amount of, say, artifact creatures in this, which you probably do, because you can really take advantage of them, utilize cards like Vitalize. Green has some untap effects as well. They're like, hey, untap your team. Untap all creatures you control. Now, is this dramatic reversal? Unfortunately, no. Because if you were in blue, you'd be like, yeah, let's use that. With this, though, it's like, yeah, all my artifact creatures, I can utilize them for a lot of mana or a lot of Impulse Draw, play this probably for free. I mean, not for free, but you're paying 1 mana out of however much you just dumped in your mana pool with all those artifacts that you just tapped, and all of a sudden, untap all those artifact creatures, do whatever else I need with them. Probably some recursion as well, regrowth type effects. There's some crazy, probably broken things that you can do once you get things really set up. Yeah, have fun with that. Next up, Gearport 8th Grid. Yeah, again, we've got ways to take advantage of our artifacts, ways to take advantage of tapping them with our commander, but also ways to take advantage of them with this. That can be a finisher or a removal spell, essentially. Enchantment for 3 mana, tap 2 untapped artifacts you control, 1 damage to our creature or player. This can really add up throughout the game. Again, with the amount of artifacts you're going to be spamming into play, you can be like, okay, all of them, yeah, right before, okay, you're passing the turn, okay, on your end step before my upkeep, yeah, let's just ping everything down. So yeah, this can be absolutely crazy. Also take advantage of that impulse draw with something like Faldorn. Hey, 3/3 human druid. Whenever you cast a spell from exile or lander's battlefield from your control from exile, make a 2/2 wolf. There you go. Being able to say like, okay, I'm gonna make an army out of this by just playing spells off of that impulse draw I'm getting from my commander. Lovely. Also, sure, pay 1 tap, discard a card, exile card, let it play this turn. Basically turning card or temporary card advantage off of cards you don't need out of your hand anymore. So you can do some pretty crazy things with a commander like this. Again, yes, it is limited to non-token artifacts. And yeah, we'll get to one other thing really quick, because I did say top 5, but I got a little surprise for you too. There are some crazy things you can do this one. There's absolutely absurd. Again, a lot of these commanders I've talked about today are ones that can really take advantage of artifacts no matter what your budget is. Again, we talked about ones that are like, okay, card advantage, mana advantage. This is both card and mana advantage. Again, it is card and mana advantage. Yeah, is it the perfect colors for artifacts? No, but that's also kind of what makes it fun, and there's some crazy things that you can do and take advantage of with it. So yeah, Maria is a fantastic pick for a budget artifact commander. Okay, and I did say, again, we have the top 5, but like, this is kind of like a little tiny edition, okay? See, a little tiny edition. Urza. Yeah, okay, Urza is not a budget-friendly commander when it comes to its cost. It is like a $10 card, and it used to be like 40 and it got reprinted, so it is not that budget-friendly of a commander. I mean, I did show like a $5-ish one earlier, but this is twice that expensive, right? This is just an absurd portion of your budget. That being said, it's technically still probably very budget-friendly, because you could just grab a handful of artifacts and chuck them into an Urza deck. Like, you just go to like the bargain bin, grab like whatever 5-cent artifacts, chuck them in there, and you probably have a functional deck, because Urza is absurd. 1 Freeman Artificer, enters the battlefield, make a 0/0 construct that gets bigger for each artifact you control. Tap an untapped artifact you control, add blue. So again, kind of like Maria, but this one also counts token artifacts too, which is insane. And now all of your artifacts are basically mock sapphires. Yeah, gross. Oh, and by the way, on top of that, because that's not enough, pay 5, shuffle your library, exit top card, play it for free. Great. So yeah, this is a commander that, again, is not budget itself. It is a $10 commander, and typically that's not going to lean toward a budget-friendly deck. That being said, you could very easily, again, if you're saying like a $25 deck's what you want, you could very easily be like, okay, yeah, this is $10.84, $14 worth of miscellaneous artifacts. I mean, you're going to build synergy in there too, but $14 worth of artifacts, yeah, you can build a very functional, very, 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 very powerful deck. Now, is this slightly more limited than the other commanders already mentioned because this is just much more expensive? Absolutely. That being said, still budget friendly with the other cards in the 99. But now as this episode is coming to a close, it's time for me to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know your thoughts on this list are. What are your top picks for the top budget-friendly artifact commanders out there? What ones can dominate even on a budget? And what ones should you be careful with? I mean, please, again, be careful with Joyrup, be careful with Sten, be careful with those kind of artifact storm type builds, because again, they're not for every playgroup out there. There are definitely playgroups out there that are completely fine with that and watching you play solitaire, and believe me, again, I love building those kinds of decks. I've learned that many people don't like playing against them, so please be careful or just have a deck out there that is collecting dust. Although I do play it rarely, very rarely, but like, if everyone else is like, oh, bring out your highest power deck out there, that one can actually roll with them as well. So yeah, that's basically it. Regardless, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on it. If you are interested in any of these commanders or any of these cards, make sure you check out that card list link in the description below. Check out my episodes on these commanders as well, my deck techs on them. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.